So that was written a long time ago, like in May 2023. And I think back then, I didn't have the guts to say something like this. So if you're watching this, then I guess I'm finally ready. I'll just be brutally honest and say that I spent years in a friend group wondering if I was just an outsider. And it's a weird thing to describe, but just let me try. I'd be at the lunch table sitting with my friends, and instead of being excited and happy to see them, I'd feel almost nervous. Because I wasn't just talking to my friends, but I felt like I was performing. Almost like I had to audition to earn my seat at the table. One thing I would do, and this is kind of embarrassing, but one thing I do is I lay in bed at night and I think of funny topics or one-liners I could say, and in the following morning, I try to bring it up in conversations, almost like some weird stand-up routine. And it never really worked, obviously, but I thought I would just bring that up. Anyways, the part that messed with me the most is when they talk about plans. They would talk about going to something like a trampoline park, and they say something like, oh, us five are gonna go to this, when 6 people were at our lunch group. And I knew I was that sixth person, because I was. I try to act like I didn't care. I'd shuffle through my backpack, look through my phone, and just try to look unbothered. But to be honest, I cared a lot. I guess part of me stayed quiet because I didn't want to seem like I was being desperate or that I was being too needy. But it didn't change the fact that it messed with my head, and I blamed myself a lot for it. I told myself I wasn't funny enough, interesting enough, that I didn't bring enough value, so that's why I was tossed aside. And looking back, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. First of all, I don't think this is about saying he's wrong and I'm right, or they should have treated me better. Truthfully, I don't know what I or they would have done differently in the past. But something I've realized lately is that some people just aren't your people. When you're with the wrong people, dude, it messes with you. You start performing, you shrink yourself, you change parts of yourself when nobody asks you to, because you think you're the problem, and you think that you're too much or not enough, or that you need to be like someone else. But that's just not true. And it's not your fault for thinking that way, but it is your responsibility to step up and realize when it's happening. You have to be okay with letting go. I know letting go of people is scary because it means things are going to change. But it means that things are going to change. For the longest time, 3 years exactly, I wondered why I was constantly stuck in this weird dynamic where I felt like the outsider. But it makes sense because I chose to stay in that dynamic. I was afraid to let go because I was scared to be alone. But something I wish I knew earlier is that letting go of people isn't all or nothing. It's not about just you either ditch someone or you ride or die with them. It's you can slowly let go of someone and just see what happens. For me, I stopped being the first one to put in effort. And yes, it did hurt because when I stopped being the first one to text, the text stopped coming, period. When I stopped being the first one to try to make a hangout, the hangout stopped coming, period. It hurt, but for the first time, I started seeing my friendship through a clear lens. I think letting go was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And when I let go, I finally had the energy and the time to invest in other friends I felt closer with, but I didn't have the time for them originally. Friends, I think, are like seeds in a garden. You can't grow new things if all your water's going to the weeds. And sometimes the weeds aren't even The weeds aren't even bad plants. They're just not your plants. I guess what I'm trying to say is that not everyone is meant to stay in your life. And not everyone is meant for you. And that's okay. It's just about having the self-respect and kind of, I guess, the love for yourself to walk away when things aren't working out for you. For me, I was able to get to this point in my life where I have friends who I love and who appreciate me for who I am because I was able to walk away. And trust me when I say that it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. There's supposed to be like a level of pain behind it. And to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, some people just, some people aren't your people. And I guess the thesis of this video or whatnot is that it's not always an issue of you. Sometimes it is, and sometimes, no, actually, there's always things you can do to help your friendships be healthier, but sometimes it's not a problem of you, okay? All right. Anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm Hugh, and I hope you have a great day.